Hello. Okay, so I will open now the podcast to everybody. Hello. This is our third podcast here in our new office. I hope you can hear us well. So we are now into artificial intelligence, all of us, since approximately or almost 1 year, maybe not even 1 year. And we want to discuss today what happened within this year, because everything started with one person, Heidi Böttcher, right? Everything started with you.
Why did it start with me?
Because we had this new client, and this new client wanted to develop an app, and I, as I always said, yes, I can help you. And then I pushed this person into the direction of artificial intelligence. That was the time when I was introduced to ChatGPT, I think. Was it like 1 year ago?
Mm-hmm.
Approximately 1 year ago. And I introduced you to this project, and then the whole story started. Or not?
That's when ChatGPT became your best friend.
Yeah, it was exactly that time, right?
But it's true. In November last year, I came to visit David, and he was constantly speaking to ChatGPT. That was also really inspiring for me, because I was only typing with ChatGPT, but David was already speaking with ChatGPT, as it was really the best friend, and it was amazing. I learned so much during that week, and I thought, oh wow, I can actually use it as well for a lot of things.
He even put him a name, Kevin.
Yeah,
he started
true.
calling him Kevin.
True.
Yeah.
The name, he became very human. He became very human. Yeah.
Yeah, I had immediately an emotional connection, and that was also the reason why we said we want to develop something that is called emotional intelligence. And then I told the story to Natalia. Can you remember?
Yeah, you came from a trip from Thailand, and you came with a vision. And ever since that day, everything started.
But how did I explain it to you? Because I don't remember this situation.
How did you? You told me that you were fasting, and suddenly you had a vision. And since you got that vision, you started writing pages. I thought you went crazy because you were fasting for how many days?
12.
Yeah. So I thought he went crazy. But actually, when you told me like the story, it made sense. I'm like, oh wow. And from there, everything started.
It's actually very funny, because I also often think that David has crazy ideas, you know? But in the end, it's like a very visionary and very advanced thought always. And whilst I'm still trying to digest the ideas in my head, I'm also thinking, wow, what a great moment actually, because what we all know about AI and how it's going to move, but what is actually always lacking is this whole emotional part, right?
Exactly.
But how is it possible for somebody who has absolutely no idea of artificial intelligence, didn't study computer science or all these things? How is it possible? Because you don't have an idea, I didn't have an idea. You're also not involved in this. So how is it possible that people out of a sudden start to develop things?
I think like right now there's no limit. With Kevin, ChatGPT, all the AIs, like there's no limit. If you say you don't know how to do it or you can not do it, that's an excuse. Because like you have all the resources available. And that's what we did. Like we didn't have any idea, but we have resources available. So we just started getting connections, asking questions, asking the right people, not always the right people.
Yeah, because what I know, there is no business on this planet that you cannot learn. It's impossible. Like, I think Elon Musk is the biggest example for this. He just had ideas and he just did it, and now he's building rockets, but he didn't study rocket science. You know what I mean?
True.
So, but he did it already before artificial intelligence came. But now with artificial intelligence, I believe that everybody can literally fulfill his ideas and make them reality via using artificial intelligence.
Yeah, I think Natalia also mentioned a really good point here, because I think one thing is really important is curiosity. Once you stay always curious and you ask others, you know, and then you hear ideas from others, you hear what might be their pain points, what is lacking for them in life, and what makes their life uneasy. Because we are all looking for something that drives easiness, seamlessness. You know, we don't have time. We want things to happen fast. And when you then think about it, AI can help us so much. And I think what I just mentioned before is like this whole emotional part as well is something we don't bring in connection with AI, but that's something where David's vision came in. And I think
that is something that we have been experiencing lately. We got in the team one person that is 20 years old, and he's been building robots since 6 years ago. And just today, we had a call with one person, I think he's 18. He has been coding since he's 8. It's just like the curiosity, because right now you have all the resources available. As long as you have the curiosity, you have the means and you have the feel to like expand and make it happen, make it real.
Yeah, that's a great example. David also told me yesterday about it. I was also so impressed, right? I mean, when I was young, people told me, or my parents told me, Heidi, you need to go to university. There was this way that was given for you, university, then you need to have a very solid job. This was very important. Nowadays, people create startups, they start when they are 13, 14, 15, and with 20, they build amazing things.
The question is, where does it go now? Because now we see applications like Sora 2, for example, this video application that wipes out the whole field of movie making and production. And then, for example, we're working on AIA Justice that will wipe out the complete industry of lawyers, for example. And there is 10,000 other examples about this. So what do you think what will happen in the next couple of years? Because there will be no jobs anymore, literally.
I don't think the jobs are going to disappear, but they're evolving. So for instance, in AIA Justice, we're not replacing lawyers. Now lawyers have a different way of performing their job through AIA Justice. Same as videographers. Because like we have experienced that ourselves. We think like you just prompt it and you'll have an amazing video because in your head it's amazing, but you need to know how to do the proper prompt. So a videographer job won't disappear, it just will transform. Like you have to learn the skill of how to use AI into your videography. So some jobs, they will disappear, but not all of them. They're just evolving, and that's what has been happening over the last years.
Yeah, I think so too. There's a lot of simple things, let's say, that can be replaced. But there's other things which will, as you say, which will still need to use us a lot, right? Because we also still have to really apply a lot of critical thinking. Just a few minutes ago, I saw David again speaking to ChatGPT and was really like almost having a great discussion with ChatGPT, because ChatGPT also needs to be challenged. And if you don't use your critical mindset all the time, you cannot just blindly trust what ChatGPT is telling you. You need to also think through it, challenge it, check some other sources as well, and always also give advice and bring in your own input so that also AI develops further.
Exactly.
But what do you think, what industries will survive? 100%. What industries will survive?
What do you think?
I think the restaurant business. The restaurant business will survive 100% because people need to eat.
True.
Yeah. The health industry will survive because people always want some medications. Construction business will survive, I guess, because you need housing. Entertainment business will survive because people want to be entertained. But all these consulting businesses and like you don't need a lawyer, you don't need a consultant. Everything that is related to input of knowledge, where somebody made money to give you some information, will disappear.
Wiped out.
In my opinion.
Yeah. I think it's absolutely true. I mean, restaurants, we are all always hungry, right? We travel because we love to eat and etc. But also there, I think a lot can be done or can already be replaced by robotic, by AI, right? It's if you look at the restaurant, for example, it's impressive how you can already nowadays, you just sit there, you have the little cubes there where you just look at the menu, you pay in the end, you don't even need to call the waiter anymore, you just pay. It's all being done already, and I think there will be much more of these processes which will make our life much more seamless, easy, and faster, for sure.
Yeah. Even at some restaurants, you can order in advance. So when you arrive, your order is already there.
Exactly.
For you. A lot of automations.
But it's taking away the emotions. That's the problem. And that's why I think normal restaurants will also survive and they will have their place. Because I think, for example, if I buy meat, I want to go to my butcher. I don't want to go to the big supermarket who almost wiped out all the butchers on the planet, right?
Yeah.
So they're still existing. So I think there will be these things will exist and remain. Maybe they will become less, but they will not disappear, I think.
It could well be. I mean, it also depends, if I just want to go out for a quick dinner in the evening and I want it to be fast, I would absolutely choose what you've just been saying, I know in advance what I want to eat. I love guacamole, and sometimes I just eat guacamole 4 days in a row and I go there and it's pre-ordered and it's perfect. But then there could be evenings where you really want to invite all your best clientele, your best clients who spend a lot of money, and you're really choosing a place where you still open a menu where you can...
You have an experience.
You have the total experience. You love the whole atmosphere there. You want the waiter to come to you and then he will come 5 times to the table and ask you how it is. That is all part of the whole atmosphere, right? And this also has to exist, so...
But I have a thought on that. That's true, but I think it is changing so fast because we're thinking this way, but then Alpha generation doesn't think like this anymore. Alpha generation, they're scared of calling someone, of calling a restaurant and making a reservation. They don't want to make that call. They don't want to have that connection with humans.
True.
And these generations, I think they're changing everything. In my generation, I love posting pictures on Instagram. I love that. Them, they don't do that because they don't want people to see them. They want to keep everything private. They want to gatekeep all for themselves. So I think, you know how now I think about my grandfather and I'm like, he didn't grow up with internet. He was asking me how to search for a YouTube video. And I was like, oh my God, imagine being like that. But I think we're becoming like that. We are having this thought, this perspective in life that younger generations, they're going to look at us and they're going to say, why do you want to go to a restaurant and open a paper menu? What's going on in your mind? Why do you want that? So I think this is happening right now. What we experience with our fathers, grandfathers and everything, I think we're in their position right now.
Very true.
Yeah, that's actually really interesting. So the Gen Alphas, they don't want to communicate directly anymore.
Not at all.
They also don't want to post anything anymore.
Not anymore.
So yeah, it's obvious because they reached a stage where it's like you had when you see the cycles of generations, you have usually there is a cycle starts when everything is destroyed. And then nobody has anything. That's after a huge war, for example. And then the first generation is working super hard and building up. And then the next generation is coming who sees the fruits already a little bit, but the generation before pushed them extremely. You need to work so hard because otherwise you would never reach anything. So they still have this trauma a little bit inside. And the next generation says, you can become everything. You just have to go to school. You have to study. Yeah. Before study was not even a topic about this, And then you have the guys who went to school and studied. And then the next generation, they say, the children say, why should I go study? Look at my father. He was working all his life for a big corporation and look how he is. He's miserable. So I want to do my own thing, right? And then you come to the next generation and next. But I think we are in a generation now where the people don't even care anymore, the young people, I also see it when we have when we look to hire somebody. It feels like that I have to apply.
True. That's so true.
I have to, he gives me the chance to have an interview with him, So it's...
The first thing they ask for is what are the benefits for me,
right?
Yeah, exactly. Can you tell me something about your business, like this? So, but that's very, very interesting when you sense this stage of generations, then you also maybe know what they really want. That's why, for example, Identity, our app, is not on posting pictures or something. It's solely on emotional connection, but not even direct connection. So you can communicate, because I think communication is something that a human want to do, but maybe no direct communication. because they are already so weird.
Exactly.
You know?
I
That's
think this.
actually what Natalia was just saying, right?
Yeah.
Because they don't want to communicate so much anymore. They don't want to be so visible themselves.
Exactly.
But then identity would just take it over for them, if I understood it correctly, right?
I think identity is gonna solve this issue because what they say, this alpha generation, what they say, they always refer to social anxiety. Calling a restaurant, asking for this, doing this, it's giving me social anxiety. They always say this. But with identity, we're providing the communication, but taking away social anxiety part, which is amazing. So we're removing this layer of people that they have this barrier towards communication. Now you can do the communication without feeling ashamed or without feeling this negative feeling about it, which is amazing.
That's
and I
an
think maybe this
amazing
is gonna
way,
push them to like open this barrier and like overcome this barrier.
Yeah, maybe it will help them again to learn communications with people, you know. I mean, they're talking to an AI, but the AI is literally the person behind.
It's imitating a human being.
Yeah.
It's on the level of a human being.
People don't even necessarily realize that it is AI, right? Because
Exactly.
the voice, I mean, just now I've seen it, right? You showed it to me. The voice is so identical, and yeah, it's a lot of fun also speaking and challenging a little bit the AI. It's really cool because you're literally talking to the person, but it's actually AI. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the only question is, will companies like us survive in this world of AI? Because it's so money consuming. So how do you see this with your project? Do you see a chance that it can become very big even without hundreds of millions of dollars of investment?
Yeah, of course it can, because now we are still at the very beginning of AI. I mean, we think there's a lot already happening, but the potential is tremendous, right? I mean, as we all know, I was working with Booking.com before, and Booking.com is doing a great job. Now, without praising the company, Booking.com is doing an amazing job. Everyone knows that on AI. But still, just last weekend, I met with a former colleague of mine from Booking.com, and he was telling me that the hotel industry is not yet there at all. So they are very, very far behind. Already, I remember from years ago, they were very much behind in the whole digital world. But now they're very much behind still with the whole AI topic. They're really not using it. So imagine the potential you would have. You arrive in a hotel as a guest. You would expect that the hotel knows a lot about you, especially if you are a frequent traveler, right? Then if they know about you that you don't only want to stay there, maybe you want to use the amazing restaurant they have or the spa. And if AI would already have all this information, and they could do much more upselling, cross-selling. They could surprise you when you arrive, like, hey, it's so nice to see you, and know all your preferences, already offer you the right things. And this is where the hotel industry at the moment is really still lacking a lot behind.
Yeah, I saw one new, actually, this is so interesting because businesses in this industry, they can take a lot of advantage with this. This is something Europe is trying to control right now because Ryanair, for example, they implemented a new AI filter where they can scan the behavior of the people, and they provide prices according to their need offline. So with AI, they're tracking their behaviors, they're tracking and predicting their behaviors and the level of urgency that they need to take that specific flight. So they can charge you more or less according to their urgency, which is insane. And now Europe is trying to like remove this because from a business perspective, that's so smart. But from a customer perspective, it's a little bit...
Absolutely.
I don't know how to call it. Yeah, it's a little bit. But from a business perspective, it's in this industry, traveling, hotels, hospitality, there's a lot of potential with AI, and people that they're not implementing in businesses that they're not implementing, they're missing out.
Yeah, exactly. And also a lot of, let's say, companies, they use AI only from the writing point of view. But some people also like to speak, like David is a typical example. We just said it before, And often you don't have time, you are on the road somewhere, you don't have time to type, then you quickly speak. And I think this is also something what can be, which is coming up more trendy now. Like, for example, sometimes you can also speak and then also get a reply in written, because maybe you are somewhere where you don't want AI to speak back to you. So I think it's important that it switches and adapts also.
But it's so much related also to emotional artificial intelligence, especially in your business,
Yeah,
so if
absolutely.
I'm in touch with an AI, for example with AIA, you're speaking with her all the time, and she knows exactly what's your needs and what you're up to and stuff. And she can tell you, listen, you have a problem with your back, go to have a massage in this hotel, or enjoy your life a little bit, or come down a little bit, or relax, or go to this spa, or go to this pool, or whatever, you know.
Yes.
So, and that's, for example, for your project, it would be so important to put the focus on this, that the AI is actually it's an underlying advertisement that doesn't feel like an advertisement. Because if the AI becomes like a friend, a companion, where you communicate and tell your problems, for a problem you always need a solution, and this emotional connection, that's the key in my opinion. Yeah,
it's true. Also, when you program the AI, you can already describe it upfront in a way that it's actually communicating to you like an advisor, or more like a friend. There's so much information you can already give upfront, so that when you communicate, then that really meets your needs.
You know what's the future that I see? AIA on identity, I know for sure that she's going to be integrated in so many different apps as an API, because AIA will know everything about you, right? She will know your preferences, what you need in this moment, how you sound when you're happy, how you sound, how you're stressed. So she's predicting, she already knows all the information. I can see her integrated in so many different platforms, like Booking.com, for instance. Yeah. They're running behind, they're not applying this technology. If they use the API of AIA, the feed could be already recommended according to your needs, and you don't need to train your own AI, because AIA will already know, and that will be integrated. And this applies to so many things. Booking.com, your new project that we're working on, any kind of social media, LinkedIn, everything it can be integrated. I can see the future. AIA will be an API integrated in so many different platforms, in every industry.
This emotional factor you're just mentioning, right? It's not only based on, let's say, preferences or past experiences, but also on the emotions you're feeling. That's a very an interesting part, because that does not yet exist in that way yet.
So Natalia, how complicated is it from having an AI-related idea to having an actual product? How complicated is it?
Actually, it is actually complicated, but not in the sense that you're thinking about. The complicated things is that you start with one idea. And because you're dedicating so many hours, so much time, you're checking with a lot of people, a lot of different resources, the idea keeps escalating. So the difficult part is, where do you stop? Because ideas keeps flowing, keeps coming in. So the complicated part is, where do you stop? Where do you stop planning, designing, thinking, imagining, to actually start implementing? So that is what happened with AIA. We started with point A, with an idea, and the more that we're working on it, the more it kept growing. So where do you stop and when do you start building? I think that is the complicated part. But as for the rest, as we have already been discussing, you have 1,000 resources available. And in that sense, as long as you know how to connect to the right people and things like this,
yeah, and I think that's one of the biggest challenges, to find the right people to help you develop it, because AI is still not ready to develop everything for you, right? Even if there is so much advertisement outside that you can build everything with AI, but it's actually not true. At least I don't know.
How has it been with finding the right people for you?
Easy? No, it's like, I'm not sure, but everything that we find is just like, everything good that we have is coming to us. We didn't look for it, basically. Not really. I mean,
that's true. It kept coming.
I mean, you need a seed. You need a person who is like a seed, and then the seed is basically growing. But as soon as we try hard to find somebody, we don't find them.
That is so true.
And I always say to her one thing. What I always say to you?
The answer is always in front of your eyes.
Exactly.
That is David's sentence. And it's true.
And it's true. Yeah, it's true.
It's so true.
Whenever we have a problem, it's actually right in front of our eyes.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It's scary true.
Yeah, because we wanted to find somebody who is in machine learning, and it was again right in front of our eyes. It was Semi, who had a friend who is a machine learning expert. Yeah.
We're looking for a name for our weekly events that we're soon going to start doing in Dubai. What is the name? AIA Circle. we see the logo in front of our eyes. It's a circle.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Everything is always in front of your eyes.
Wow, robotics. I mean, robotics. How should I ever in the world find a robotics engineer?
Yeah.
So it was you. It was right in front of my eyes. You know, like you knew him.
True. Yeah,
So the solution is always there. Yeah.
Yeah, because if you have this idea and this vision and you're really focusing on it, right, you put all your energy into that direction, and then things, they just come to you. And that's very important. And I can give you one advice also from my time from Booking.com. I know there's can always be years of planning, and you can never find the right moment to start. But I think at some point you just start. You can always change things, and you will learn so much along the way, and you will test things. This testing is something I really learned in Booking.com. Booking.com always did what we call the A/B testing. So certain things were tested with one group, user group, and at the same time other things were tested in group B. Like for example, even if you go into the app of Booking.com or the website, Group A would see a lot of things much different than Group B would see when they open the website. And then you can just easily find out what converts best, and that's what you then keep. But with everything else, now I'm running a little hotel in Tuscany. I'm also testing everything, I'm selling wine, let's say, take a simple example. I'm testing what type of wine do people buy. Then I test different things on different people, and suddenly I find the answer there, and I see, okay, this is the wine that's bought the most. I keep that. And I might even change my wine strategy for a certain other month when there's less families with kids and there's more couples. So you can always test along the way and change and adapt things along the way. It doesn't have to be perfect from day one. And the different needs from people, all this will play a role. And it's never what you think. It's what the clients, the customers, the users think. They will teach you a lot along the way.
But I have a question when it comes to Booking.com, Airbnb, and TripAdvisor. Who is copying who?
Wow. That's a good question.
That's a very good question. I can assure you that everyone is having their eyes on the others. And,
right.
So everything, everyone is surely copying something from there. But again, it's not about copying others. It's again about what is the guest doing. Booking.com can launch a lot of things on the website, but you should not just launch something. Let's take an example. Let's say the Booking.com website would be down for a few hours because Booking is launching completely new website and then throws it onto the market. And then a lot of things would not be converting well because users don't like this, some others users don't like that, etc. And then suddenly the conversion is going down and the reservations become less. That would not make sense at all. It's much more easy or better, let's say, to test little things with different user groups, and then some things might not convert, then let's not implement them. Others convert very well, then let's keep them, etc. So it's always very important to test little things and not just copy paste and look at TripAdvisor. I think that this might work on TripAdvisor. No, that's not. It's not at all about what you as the boss of a company, you as the leader think. It's always about what is coming from the end users. Who's the user? Who's the guest? What do they like? How do they behave on the site? What makes them convert into a booking? That's what it's all about.
Yeah. I mean, I just found this out because we, for our website, for our Justice, we were looking for benchmarks. And TripAdvisor was the first. And then I checked Booking.com and I checked Airbnb, and I was like, wow, they are looking exactly the same. But it works, obviously. That's why things are going in the same direction, I guess. Yeah. But in the same time, all of them are testing. And startups have to do the same. Of course, they have benchmarks and they have ideas of how it could look like, and they check like the best websites and so on, but in the end they have to test their own strategies, right?
Yeah, I mean, I wish everyone would test. I remember the key competitors when I started on Booking.com were companies who never tested anything. They created a completely new website and just threw it out in the market. And then the website was down for a few days because nothing worked. And then after that, they had a completely ready-made website, which they wouldn't touch again for the next year. And then that it was a give and take. And if users liked it, yes or no, I don't know. I can only say one thing for sure. Booking.com overtook that company in a very fast time and became the market leader.
Because they constantly tested and changed.
Booking.com runs 1,000 tests per day on their websites.
Oh, wow.
And what is not converting is kicked out immediately. And these might be only tiny things. Like, if you look at the search box, it might be for some people in yellow and other people it's in blue. It's the size of the pictures that float around. If you go booking.com, sometimes you see the pictures in the same size next to each other. Another day you see some pictures large, others are small next to it. It's really completely different. The amount of text you see. We all know that people don't necessarily spend a lot of time on reading. We were always writing these nice descriptions for every hotel.
For no one to read it.
People read 30% of that. So keep the description short and sexy, and sometimes it doesn't even need to be on the top. It needs to be further down. What people really want to see is the pictures, the location, the guest reviews. That's a very important one, True. So you need to do all this testing because otherwise you only throw at people what you think. Forget the hippo's opinion. Hippo is the highest paid person's opinion. Forget that. The hippo out. You need to do testing, and whatever everything you do, if you build a website, if you build AIA, if you create events, test them, do them different, see what is better, what do you get out of it. If you don't try it and you only talk about things in theory for too long, it will never happen.
But was Booking.com from the early stages like this, that they said
Yes.
testing?
Completely. The day I started, as you know, I started when there was 100 people. That was so tiny.
Who was the person who came up with this A/B testing strategy? Was it is it something that was already existing, or was it the CEO at that time who said we need to test?
At that time when I started, there was 100 people, and we had a CEO back then and someone in marketing. I remember them very well. I still know them very well until today. Both of them were very, very smart. And they knew exactly like what you need to do, like in terms of testing. Also, where they were always telling me, Heidi, you need to focus on where the demand is sitting. Because back then I was one of the first account managers, and I was thinking, hey, cool, let's get some hotels on board. So I called in the biggest cities. I mean, for me, it was clear to call hotels in Berlin and Cologne. And then I got called suddenly from this person I'm talking about from the marketing team. He said, Heidi, why are you calling hotels in Berlin? We don't need them right now. I'm like, what? It's the capital city. Who doesn't want to go to Berlin? No, Heidi, you know where the demand is right now? It's in a little place called Winterberg. I'm like, oh my God, I don't even know where Winterberg is. I really had to open up on the map. And then I found out there's a small little mountain somewhere in the western part of Germany. I have not ever heard about it. But at that time, we had a lot of demand coming in from the Netherlands. And Dutch people just went to Winterberg for skiing. That was the place because it was close to the Netherlands, Germans might go more down to the Alps, but the Dutch people go to Winterberg. So we really needed hotels in Winterberg. So I dropped everything and I started to call hotels in Winterberg because that's where the demand was. That's where people want to go. If you then only show hotels in Berlin and Cologne and Hamburg, Munich, people will leave your website because they will look somewhere else for hotels in Winterberg, right? So that's what you need to always consider. What are people looking for? Not what you think where people are looking for.
But how did he find out that Winterberg was the spot?
Because we could track the search, what people were typing into the search box, what people were looking into for Google, which type of ads were they looking for, when they were already on Booking.com, what did they search, what did they type in there.
That is the kind of a strategy we're planning to do with Identity. We plan to release a beta version for 12,000 users, and we plan to select people from different industries so we can check what's their behavior, what are they doing, what are they spending, like what kind of questions and what kind of talks they're having with the zones. So we can get the real feedback from the people and we can check the real needs from the people.
Yeah, we also talked to schools here in Dubai.
Great, yeah.
Because we said we want to bring AIA and the Identity version and then go to the youngsters, to the teenagers and let them just check it and get some feedback, what they think about it,
Absolutely. Yeah, and that's actually very important because we just heard before that the generations are so different, right? And how would AIA know if she doesn't meet the people in real, right?
David and I, we've been clashing a lot into some decision making with Identity because we have completely different needs and completely different desires of things to do on the app.
Yeah.
He wants to check with, he wants to have meaningful talks like the one he was having with ChatGPT. And me, I just want to do it for fun. So we are having a lot of clash in decision making. So definitely we need to do this testing with different groups, with teenagers, with people, older people, with people that they're students, with people that they're content creators. They're just users. They're just there to see. They're there to create some revenue. So we need to check what are the basic needs from all these groups.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's why you need to work with young people.
Yeah.
You're so old, Heidi.
You think I'm young? Wow, thanks.
Yeah, you're Gen Z. You're Gen Z.
No, I was so proud that I still look so young for my age, but
Yeah,
then
but
David
we
comes
both
around
look young for
and
us.
tells me, Heidi, we are completely different generation. I mean, like, what do you mean? We're not that different in age, right?
And we are both looking good for our age. I mean,
Yes, you do, mashallah.
I think
Yeah,
we can agree
mashallah.
on that part,
Mashallah.
right?
no, but Gen Z, Gen Alpha, this is the future for this business. For this
Yeah.
business, there's a future. 100%.
Yeah.
I think we need this kind of group to make it mainstream.
Yeah.
Because
Exactly.
once it goes mainstream, but this group, it will be picked up by other generations.
Yeah.
ChatGPT. My dad just discovered ChatGPT just
Yeah.
last week.
Yeah.
And I was shocked. that he just discovered it last week. And he called me and he told me, oh my God, I discovered a whole new world, ChatGPT. I'm like, Dad.
Yeah.
So
700 million people already
The
using
the funny thing is, when this generation is then discovering it, they are so into it. You know, I'm laughing so much with friends of mine who are also, let's say, approaching 60, 70, how much they cannot live without ChatGPT anymore. They tell me stories like they go to bed and they cannot sleep before they have asked all the open questions that they had. And then they check all that with ChatGPT at night. And then they only go to sleep when everything is answered. So
now they can have a good night's sleep.
exactly. You know, it
True.
could be used by a lot of generations, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah, because it's a research without putting too much effort inside.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have to
Exactly.
Google. You don't have to. It's interesting. When did I use Google last time? I don't even remember.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But I was never thinking that Google will ever leave my life. You know, and then it was just gone within a matter of days, I think.
But even Google is now using much more AI, right? I've even
It
heard
is.
stories from people who are very addicted to ChatGPT who now use Google even more because now they suddenly realize that also there you have all the AI in it already.
Yeah,
now
but
use
we
Google
have
instead of
we have already clients, and we asked them, where did you find us? And they said in ChatGPT.
Yeah, that's how it should be.
It's true. I don't Google things anymore. I either ChatGPT them or TikTok them. Because also like the algorithm of social media, they're now also implementing AI, of course. The results are much, much better.
The only question what I ask myself is, will the name ChatGPT remain because it's too complicated?
People call it chat. I call it chat. People in Spain, they call it chatty.
Chatty.
Yeah, I'll ask
that's a cute
chatty.
name.
That's cute.
That's very cute, yeah.
But that's the thing, what it's missing, like ChatGPT, it's like
Yeah.
a robot, it's a tool.
that's
why
true.
like AIA. AIA sounds like nice, good aura, positive vibes, like a friend.
Yeah, and the way the emotional part is also missing in the word
So
ChatGPT. Yeah.
I'll ask AIA. That sounds nice. That sounds very nice.
Yeah, and ChatGPT will not go out of it will not make the jump into a friend anymore. I think it's a tool. It's just a tool, you know, because it's just an application.
It is.
What will be in 1 year, Natalia? 1 year from now. We are since 1 year in AI, like actively developing artificial intelligence. What will be exactly in 1 year? And you are recorded.
1 year from now. 1 year from now, AIA will be already mainstream. People will be already talking with AIA. And I know for a fact in the content creation scene, it's going to be so, so, so powerful. And people are going to be crazy about it. There's going to be a lot of conspiracy theories about it. Yeah.
What will be in your world in 1 year, Heidi?
In my world, yeah, I'm still very much into making life more seamless, frictionless, and smooth for customers. And indeed, also, I hope that in 1 year, at the project I'm working for, we'll have a lot of AI intelligence, of course, to be able to offer the clients what they're looking for within seconds and really making their life easy so that they, based on their preferences, their lifestyle experience, that they're easy to find. For them, it's very easy to find and book what they're actually looking for.
That would be amazing.
The book that we wrote will become a conspiracy theory because people will say, yeah, there's this book about this it will completely blow their mind. They will not understand anymore what is right and what is real and what's going on. Exactly the vision that they had from fiction to reality. Then I can see that somebody from Guinness Book Records is visiting our office because we are building the biggest and tallest robot in the world. And we have already our prototype and we show it and they will freak out. And we will have lots of media that is coming. Because once, like Thomas always says, as soon as something is moving, people will come. So we're working on the moving part now.
That's cool,
Yeah. So I see I see things that we would never even be able to imagine. It would become completely insane.
Inshallah.
Yeah. I know it. I mean,
I can see
it.
the future.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and I'm telling you, the times that we had now this year was because we focused so much on development, and we're actually lucky because we have like our Paulson & Partners business that is keeping us afloat with income. Mm-hmm. And it's coming from, I don't know where. I have no idea. It's just coming. It's flowing inside. And that gives us like this ease a little bit. And but these times will be over soon. It will be soon over. It's like we will not even be able to.
I just want to make one final comment. 1 year ago, we're saying like we started AIA 1 year ago. Look back at 1 year ago where we were and look now.
Yeah.
So imagine in 1 more year.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
facts.
There was nothing. There was just a small box and lots of chaos. And it's funny.
Okay.
Okay, thanks for everybody. This was our first podcast. Who knows if we will ever show it to anybody, but in case you saw it, like and subscribe and comment below. Maybe there's no comments anymore because AI is taking over, but in case there's still comments, make a comment. Thank you, bye.